Okay, I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. Start with our pledge of allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Continue our busy morning here. I'll ask for approval of this morning's agenda.
To approve the agenda.
I will second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next, I can ask for approval of the minutes dated August 4th, 2021.
I'll move to approve the minutes.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next we have is the consideration of approval of claims for payment dated August 18th, 2021.
Make a motion to approve.
No, second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next, utility permits, secondary roads report. Taylor.
Utility permits.
Okay.
On the secondary roads, weather's been so good this year that we're running out of supplies for all our jobs. That means we got them all done for the year, but so we're trying to look out, see if we can find anything else and finding the guys other jobs to do. So it's kind of nice to be ahead of things for once. Pretty rare, but we'll take it. Yes.
Okay, next,
So what I'm hearing is need more funding to do more jobs.
Yeah, sure.
or have the supplies been short to find?
There's
and then
a lot of
inflated
that.
price?
Yes, yes, and yes. Like I am questioning if we're gonna get any of our equipment this fiscal year or not. Which, if we don't, we still have the money sitting there, you have to throw it to the next year. But I mean, it's been ordered, but
It's whether it comes in or not.
correct, because it should have been here by now. And the salesmen don't really have anything good to say, so you just keep waiting.
Okay.
All right, next item is consideration of approval of final plans for the bridge over County Highway S57 over Honey Creek.
Yep, so this would be just south of New Providence, near Reese's Park, the Friends Church there, so. I'm sure anyone that drives that highway is familiar with it, it's got potholes constantly, we fill them up, they come back. So, yeah, it's got estimated at 1 year of life left, so I think, this is the time to get her done quick. Prices, obviously, Bruce's estimate is higher than we normally expect, but that's kind of a given with what's going on right now too,
We redid that road here a couple of years back,
just last year.
last year.
So this is bridge and approach.
Yes.
Okay, make a motion to approve the final plans for BRS-SWAP-CO42 Era 108-FF42 Pine Highway S57 Honey Creek Bridge.
I will second that.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
And funding is 100% from our state purchase.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Next item we have is recommendation from the REAP Committee on the trail grant. And we met this morning at 8:30 and the REAP Committee unanimously approved the trail grant application.
Make motion to approve the trail grant application.
Seconded.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Next item I have is recommendation from the Economic Advisory Board on trail funding with possible action. So Monday night, the Economic Development Board Advisory Council met and made a recommendation. Renee, do you want to read the recommendation or I can? Okay, go ahead, Renee.
Okay. Says Board of Supervisors and I will represent Trail Committee. I'm writing at the request of the Hardin County Economic Development Advisory Council, who has recommended to the Board of Supervisors that the county provide a grant of $10,000 in local option sales tax dollars to fund the Iowa Rivers Edge Trail funding gap as explained on August 16, 2021. The Hardin County Economic Development Advisory Council wants to see the project come to fruition and believes that with the current committed private donations and the grant applications in place, this project will be a success and be a lasting resource for the county. Should the situation change, the council is willing to reconsider their funding gift. Please let me know if there are any questions I can answer. So sincerely, Angela De La Riva, Director of Hardin County Economic Development.
We met on this on Monday as well, prior to that, their commission meeting. I believe the $10,000 recommendation that they're making isn't gonna be sufficient enough for what the whole project is. We talked more on doing an economic development loan, to cover the shortfall, which is about 100,000. Is that correct, Chris?
A little bit less
The
than that.
the retention of about 100,000.
Yeah, from a contingency,
Contingency.
in terms of what we have committed so far, we're about 65 short outside of the other grant applications and things like that. So that the 10 being proposed, would put us roughly 55,000 to secure by April of next year. So
I think it would be a better tool to use economic development to get the 100,000 for the contingency as a loan repayable over a course of years. If they don't use it, they're sitting fine. It makes the grant application, it makes your contract fine and everything's smooth. But it takes the stress off them for the next contract that's coming up.
Right.
And I think that would be a better move.
Yeah,
We could still look at the 10,000 later, but I think for today, I think a loan would be more appropriate.
More or less cover all the bases for the money and have, so that they're secure in knowing that everything's in place. Forward. Time. Rather than not knowing.
That's what I feel.
can you unmute Angela De La Riva, please?
Hey, good morning. First, apologies that my first meeting ran late, but I guess a good thing we saw the Zoom option. Yeah, so just to give a little bit of background on kind of that decision that we made to make the $10,000 gift. We went through, did the math, and we saw that the private donations, and I believe Chris stated that those came in like 8 days or something like that. And that was something to the tune of $83,000. So that was half of that $165,000 gap that they were looking for right then and there, which is incredible. And obviously the board is just phenomenal fundraisers. So I think we should all take some lessons from them after this. But then along with the REAP grant of $75,000, we made our thought of giving them the $10,000 gift on that, contingent on that going through. Should that not go through, which REAP loves to finish projects, they like to be last dollars in, so I'm very confident that that will go through. Our $10,000 actually push them over their funding deficiency. So that was our thought process on the $10,000 gift. Obviously the council takes very proud ownership and being good stewards of that taxpayer dollars, which is why we didn't vote to give anything else. I know you guys place a lot of faith in that safeguard of having the council, so that is why they kind of made that decision. Also with the knowledge of there are other projects coming down the pipeline that we would need to see funded as well. I have several conversations going with people looking at the revolving loan fund aspect of the lost funds. So I know that they were cautious of that as well. So just so you guys know that was kind of the background of that conversation.
Thank you.
For sure.
got a lot of information here that I don't have the answers for at the moment.
Right.
I do like your thought on the being able to cover pretty much the need at this point in time, just for the security of knowing that everything's in place to continue. If they need it, they, it's a loan to them. If they don't need it,
It'll be returned.
right.
Grant does come, the REAP grant does come through, obviously that knocks that.
That's a contingency there that we have we'll know here by end of September, beginning of October. So it'd be about, but from the bid, from what I'm gonna present on for the bid acceptance process, I agreed, there is a small gap here. If everything falls in place, we'll be.
And it very well could, and as aggressive you guys are, the route you're going, it will.
I've got a lot of confidence in our board and what we've been able to do.
Which means if we get the loan, you wouldn't need anything anyway. If everything falls in place.
Correct.
But I mean, if it's a loan, they would have at least something there to start making payments back
Yep.
or.
Yep.
And I don't know, Taylor, if maybe can add to this. I mean, how often do things go over bid and so, yeah, so.
Well, I think setting
All
up
but
the
one.
I guess
timeline.
about once a decade we have a project that doesn't. There's always some little, but usually it's little, a couple $1,000.
We were 125,000 under budget on the first Steamboat Rock section. Unfortunately, the state takes all that back. So they don't.
Can't keep that up.
They can't keep that. No.
His $100,000 of contingencies should be more than enough.
We could just say up to $100,000 or something.
Not to exceed. So right now, we're on the item with the $10,000 gift from economic development. So do we want to act or not act on that and move to the next item, where I think it's probably more appropriate to consider other mechanisms of funding? One of the reasons of the urgency is that the bids came in and those are a fixed cost right now, but those bids expire Friday or
All right, sometime next
The
week.
next
Next
week,
week.
we don't have another supervisor.
So,
meeting before
right.
that.
So that's where the urgency is. This isn't something that's trying to get rammed along, and the bids came in 14% over anticipated costs. And with the inflation rates, material costs right now, I would guess that the cost will grow exponentially.
Can we flip flop the two items on the agenda?
Sure. So, I mean, if we want to
There's-
table this item to.
Well, at either point, either idea, whether we accept this one or we accept a loan offer, we could still accept the contract one or the other.
Correct.
Vote it up or down
Right,
and decide this later.
right.
Puts your little stress level higher there while we're deciding. But
I'm open to that. Yeah, that's the best decision that at this point in juncture, I would think too, for the board.
So at this point, I would prefer tabling this until more discussions, until more information comes. We come back on it.
The economic development
Yeah.
recommendation. Okay,
Move the table until more information is second.
okay, seconded.
Yeah, a motion, a second discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next would be discussion on trail proposal with possible action. Marlon?
Good morning, board. Thank you for adding the Rivers Edge Trail project to the agenda this morning. Some very exciting news and some decisions to go over. Chris Weeding, the chair of the Rivers Edge Trail Board of Hardin County. As we had in part of the discussion with economic development grant aspect, we went through some of the details, and I'll clarify that this morning on the Steamboat Rock to Eldora paving and bridge project. That project, I went to bid in July as an entire project. That was what we had worked on previous with our partners Snyder and Associates Engineering, Region 6, and Hardin County Engineering, to combine those into one project in the hopes to go prime. That did go prime. We had 7 bidders, and as BJ had mentioned, bids came out and they ended up 14% higher than expected costs. And caught in this current economic inflationary situation in terms of labor, material costs that we're seeing across all sectors, especially in construction. So our board had, and with our partners, had some choices to make. First, always in any project, you go back to what we were proposing and see if you can cut costs. That 14% put us well over 200,000 in a gap. We were able to look towards our cost-cutting measures. There's going to be there was specifically a culvert that was going to be fully replaced. Our engineers on the project felt that we could go a different route and a repair aspect of that culvert instead of a full replacement. It's always kind of good, better, best, and we're going to go with the good route, maybe instead of the best route. That saved estimated, over 50,000 in that. There's also some mitigation drainage proposal in the plan that would help to do some additional tiling and things, but that had never been done when the railroad was in place. Railroad was okay, and so those were more of good, better, best. It's a nice feature if we could fit it in, but that is estimated saving us over $40,000. Our shortfall to our final gap with the extra 14 and the cost cutting measures was roughly $164,000. I like round numbers, so I proposed 165 just to make it nice and even. To note, the 65 of that shortfall is construction cost gap. And I'll talk about our fundraising efforts here to fill that in. 100,000 of that 165 is contingency. 50,000 contingency for change orders, unexpected cost increases that would come throughout the project, and a 50,000 engineering coverage for our engineering partner Snyder. That contingency may be used, it may not be used, but we need to have it in place. So our board went to work. These bids came out basically right at the end of last week of July, and so we've been working diligently to how do we cover that gap. We've successfully fundraised commitments in the last 8 to 10 days. And we had another one come through here recently. We have commitments of 99,000 from private donors, business and private individuals. Those aren't in hand, but they are good commitments that we feel will be in hand here by April of next year. That still leaves us a bit short. We have many other proposals out there. REAP. With the 75,000, we have some commitments to bequests that have not come in. We're waiting on those through some estates that are being settled, and that's unknown. So we are counting some of the things that we feel very comfortable having in place by next year, because we just don't know the timetable on it. The request this morning is to one or two decisions for the board: accept the bids and move forward with the project with the funding sources that we have at hand. There's 1.4 million in grants, and we have 400,000 plus in cash to match that in hand already, with another 99,000 committed to the project. The other option is to reject the bids, which is also there. Rejection of the bids means it goes back to the DOT for rebidding. We had 7 bidders. The question is, do we get any cheaper on the bids than they came in? Maybe. I think our expectations and talking with our partners in the current economic and again inflationary environment is those definitely could go higher. Our 165 could increase, and that's a risk that we'd have to be willing to take there. So Our recommendation is that we, have shown that we have been able to close this gap dramatically. We're very close. The contingency of 100 needs to be there. The other side of this is that this project wouldn't be started until spring of, some maybe this fall, but spring of next year into summer. And so we'll be looking at some point next year for the final process of this project to close and to have funding in place to cover our commitment to not putting that on the Hardin County taxpayers or Hardin County to cover. So that's any questions on that this morning or clarifications?
I just wanted to bring up, Thomas Creighton has commented on Zoom with you saying that you dropped some mitigation portion. He said you might qualify for hazard mitigation dollars from HMPGP to mitigate having to replace trail in flooding event. Please advise the gentleman speaking.
Okay.
So.
Yep.
There might be.
There might be that, yeah. And our partners, we've had ideas coming in. I think we're looking at all avenues. And I think that's one thing I know we would continue to do. This project's being done a little different scope than others, and we continue to be creative and finding other avenues to make this happen. So, yeah, we'll look at all. We definitely are open to turning over every rock and looking at any options out there.
I'll say it again, you do a phenomenal job on this.
We got a good team in place, great partners. That makes this process go smoothly. And if it wasn't for their support, our engineers with Region 6, Iowa Natural Heritage, Taylor and his in Wes and their input into these things, our entire board and the work that they put in, makes this possible. And I'd say our communities and we're seeing that. I think the one thing we're excited most about is the private investment and community investment that we're seeing. Steamboat Rock, the removal of Lowhead Dam and what that's going to mean. You're seeing expansion of downtown businesses there, private recreation campgrounds being developed. Here in Eldora, City of Eldora's recent proposal to expand their in-town trails and connecting that to the riverfront. That was ultimately our goal here, was just to provide a foundation to spur economic development and entrepreneurship to make our county, our cities and our county a place to visit, to live, and to work in. So I think we're on the right track.
Well, I don't think it's very advisable to send them back to the drawing board to find if they're gonna get lower bids, because I don't think they're gonna come in lower. And if they do come in higher, they may lose the grant altogether, which wouldn't be advisable either.
Yeah, if you don't mind me on that, we have had these grants in for a number of years. We have to accept a bid by October of 2022, or this 1.4 million in grants to Hardin County start to evaporate, and that would stop this project in its tracks, unfortunately. So.
Okay, thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
I'd say we'd be fools not to accept it. They've done all this on their own without the public's money. Very impressive.
Yeah, I think we've come a long ways, and it's not going to get any cheaper. So at this point, I would accept the motion to accept the Iowa DOT contract 42-CO42-104.
Make a motion to approve or accept.
I'll second.
Okay, motion and second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Angela, roll call.
Renee,
Aye.
Lance,
Aye.
BJ,
Aye, motion carries. Thank you very much, Chris.
Thank you, board.
Thank you.
Next item I have is,
Not at this time.
no. I would accept the motion to approve the proclamation for National Rail Safety Week.
We'll make a motion to approve the proclamation.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? The Yep, proclamation reads, whereas 1,889 rail grade crossing collisions resulted in 678 personal injuries and were responsible for 201 fatalities in the United States during 2020. And whereas 1,088 trespassing incidents have occurred in the United States, resulting in 532 pedestrians being killed and another 556 injured while trespassing on railroad property rights of way during 2020. And whereas educating and informing the public about rail safety, reminding the public that railroad rights of way are private property, enhancing public awareness of the dangers associated with highway rail grade crossings, ensuring pedestrians and motorists are looking and listening on their roadways and obeying established traffic laws will reduce the number of fatalities and injuries. And whereas the International Association of Chiefs of Police, National Operation Lifesaver, the United States Department of Transportation, and all local, state, county, and railroad law enforcement officers, first responders, and railroad corporations commit to partnering together in an effort to educate at a national level all respects of railroad safety to enforce applicable laws in support of National Rail Safety Week. Therefore, we, the Hardin County Board of Supervisors, do hereby attest our full support proclaiming September 20th to 26th, 2021 National Rail Safety Week. And we encourage all citizens to recognize the importance of rail safety education. With that, all those in favor of passing the proclamation say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Next is, I would consider a motion to correct the subordination agreement.
I will make a motion to approve the corrected subordination agreement.
I'll second.
I have a motion second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Next, we are considering the appointment to fill Jackson Township trustee vacancy.
Well, we had a couple people that were interested in the position. One from the town of Owasso, another one out in the rural area. I would propose, we've had somebody resign, so feeling for it, so I would propose a motion to approve Steve Carr as the new Jackson Township trustee.
I'll second it.
I have a motion, a second discussion.
He's the one that's out in the country. One of their duties is take care of the cemeteries. He lives right across the road from the cemetery. He has a good eye on it. Lifelong resident.
If there's nothing else, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Next item we have is a amendment to the employee handbook. This just adds some clarification on how interagency postings for positions are handled. So the addition reads as following: with the exception of the Hardin County Sheriff and Hardin County Engineer's Office, all postings shall be posted 5 business days in the following locations: Hardin County Sheriff's Office, Hardin County Engineer's Office, Hardin County Courthouse, Hardin County Social Service Office, Hardin County Conservation Office, Hardin County EOC, and Hardin County Attorney's Office. The reason for this was to make sure that all Hardin County employees have access to the job postings that are offered internally before they're posted externally.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next, we have a request for approval of extra working hours for the temporary sanitarian. So this is just additional coverage while our current sanitarian is on leave.
I'll make a motion to approve the extra working hours for the temporary sanitary.
I'll second.
And I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next, we have some change of status. First is in the Conservation Department.
I'll make a motion to approve change of status Tate Miller effective 8/18/21. It's an in-seasonal position.
Second it.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Motion to approve Sophia Lucas. This is in the sheriff's office, effective 8/28/21. She's going from full-time to part-time.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
The next one I have is a motion to approve Jesse Wolf, effective 8/9/2021. It's a resignation.
Second it.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Next one I have is a motion to approve Michael Chapman, 8/13/2021. It's a resignation.
Second it.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
The next one I have is a motion to approve Emma Inks, 8/17/2021. It's a resignation.
Second it.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Next one I have is a motion to approve Hayden Rhodes, effective 8/17/2021. Another resignation.
Second it.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Other business, Lance, Renee?
I have one more.
Oh, okay. I only had others, so sorry.
The next one I have is motion to approve Cassidy James, CJ Edward Smith, effective 8/9/2021. It's a hire, it's permanent part-time at $18.90 an hour.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Any other business, Lance?
Nope.
Renee?
Nope.
Okay. I have nothing.
I have other business.
Okay, this is,
I've asked you several times about
okay.
getting Rocky.
Okay. Hold on here a second.
Right,
I can go ahead and ask for adjournment.
I'll move to adjourn.
I'm asking you to put
Okay.
Rocky
All those in
Reigns
favor?
back on the agenda,
Aye. We're adjourned. Thank you.
which you have not done, and I'd like a response